On behalf of Lackawanna City Council, I'd like to welcome everyone this evening, approximately 6:30 p.m. This is a portion of the meeting called our caucus, wherein the council members have a chance to review the various agenda items amongst ourselves, discuss them with the individual department heads, and ask any questions, have any open debate. And afterwards, we will call to order our regular meeting. And for anyone at home watching us, we'd like to welcome them. This is our regular council meeting caucus for Monday, August 15th, 2020. The first several items are administrative matters, and as a result, we'll move directly to item number 5, wherein our Director of Recreation, Brian Laxo, requests City Council approve Franklin Playground use by Global Concept Charter School soccer team. Insurance was provided or will be provided, insurance certificate. Anyone have any questions on that item number 5?
Just for clarification, they did, after the posting of this, provide the insurance proof.
Thank you, Director. Moving on to item number 6, again from Director Laxo. Request City Council approve Memorial Field for the Varsity Gay Kickball League each Monday between September 22nd and November 10th, 2022. Lease agreement is attached as well as proof of insurance. We cooperated with this organization in the past with no problems that I'm aware of. Anyone have any comments on item number 6?
Yeah, it's just one game.
No, they play multiple games, and I think I know where you're going with this. We have the lighting there, which is running at a fraction of its former functional capacity. Their brand of kickball is a lot more recreational. They use a real soft ball. It's much safer. So they're able to compete in a low lighting setting. They just need some sort of light so they can play at night. The lease price is staying the same because they don't even use the infield. The infield doesn't have to be dragged. They play 2 games simultaneously in the outfield. They basically just need a lighted green space, and the reduced lighting capacity is going to make it compatible with what their use of the field will need.
Those other towers are off.
They're all secure. Yeah, they were all looked at, and all the ones that were faulty or hazardous have been removed.
They've been here before, right?
Yes, this is yearly. Yeah.
All right, anyone else? Moving on to item number 7, City Attorney requests City Council review and approve and authorize Mayor Fowler to execute attached memorandums of understanding between City and CSEA Local 1000 regarding stipends for the management of the city website, and also for stipends for our city code enforcement officer who will be performing additional duties. Having discussed this with our city attorney and having experienced the additional work that both individuals have performed, I think it's well earned. Does anyone have any issues or questions on item number 7? Moving on, by the way, if this is voted and passed, either party, the city or the individuals involved, have the right to withdraw or cancel that agreement upon appropriate notice to the other party. So it's not something that would become necessarily a negotiating or bargaining issue in the future. Item number 8, again from our city attorney Richard Judah, our city council approved tax contract between Erie County and City of Lackawanna regarding Center Street water main and road reconstruction agreements that filed at the clerk's office. Rick, I don't know if you want to give our members in the audience and anyone at home a little bit of background as to what's changed on this.
Okay, so originally, Center Street reconstruction project, and Mr. DeSantis can chime in at any time if he wants, but there was the project was bid, we got some grant money, and we awarded it to a contractor. But then the thought was that the county sewer system was aged, as was the road and all our infrastructure in that area. So we went back to the county and we had several meetings with the county, but we were able to work out an agreement with the county so that once we dig up that street, if there's any work that has to be done on the on their sewer lines, that as long as they had the right to approve it, that they would look at it, approve it, and hopefully replace or make any modifications that has to be made. We're just trying to eliminate the position or the situation where you have to dig up the road a year after it's been repaved. So hence, we have a whole new agreement, and it outlines, it basically separates the sewer district issues with the road issues, and it gives them the right to review it, to have our engineers review it, but to recommend it to them and for them to approve it and then agree to it. So that's really all this agreement does. It's not gonna cost the city any more money.
And on behalf of the city council, and I'm sure the public will appreciate it too, it was Mayor Fowler's intention, as well as our law department and the various department heads, including Director of DPW, Tony DeSantis, to have this as a template for the future for any road reconstruction, that all of the utilities participate in that reconstruction to avoid the tearing up of the road, as Mr. Judah had indicated, after all the work has been done and it's been nicely and newly paved. So we thank you for that, Rick, and we pass it on to Mayor Fowler for us.
I think you should thank Mr. DeSantis. I think he spearheaded the whole project.
And a heartfelt thank you to Tony DeSantis. Anyone else on that item? Moving on to item number 9, that was withdrawn. Moving to item number 10, again, our city attorney requests city council approve attached ordinance amendment, Lackawanna Municipal Code, Chapter 12, city-owned real estate disposition thereof. It's my understanding, Mr. Judah, that this addresses the sale of city property, but it did not have the opportunity for the city or the right for the city to lease a property in the event that that became an option. This new legislation would allow for that. Is that correct?
Correct. It just expands our options, I would say. Does nothing more than that. It gives us one more option. Should we determine a lease situation would be permissible or would be in the best interest of the city. So that's all this really does. It's kind of cleaning up the code a little bit and giving us that one more option that's allowed under the law.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments on item number 10?
I do. In the last part where it says ordinance providing sale of property, is that for the city to sell property, or is that just for acquiring property?
So that's for
Sale of city.
Sale of city property.
So are we gonna discuss it on an ad hoc basis, or is this a
Right.
generalization?
No, this is the general statute that gives you the authority on a case-by-case basis. As a piece of property comes up and let's say somebody comes up to us and says, hey, you're not using this building anymore, we'd like to lease it from you. It gives you that option to do it. Okay, the state law says that we have to opt out of the general municipal law. That's all we're doing here, is we're opting out and setting up our own rules.
And anyone else? Okay, moving to item number 11, which is a perfect segue to what Mr. Judich just indicated. A letter from the city assessor requesting the city council approval of sale of 7-19 Johnson Street to the owner of adjacent property and 23 Johnson Street for the sum of $2,500. The only problem I had was the communication indicated the property was landlocked. My reading of the survey is not landlocked. And the other exception I take is that it says that the owner was under the impression for the last 20 years or so that that property was his. When you buy a piece of property, you get a survey with it. You and your attorney should know what you're buying. So I'm not buying that. I'm not accepting that as an excuse. That being said, I don't know if that's a buildable lot or not, Mr. Judah. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, I don't believe it is. It's close to the creek. It's a triangular piece of property. It does front on Johnson Street. I think the owner of the property next door has had use for it for many years. With it not being a buildable lot, it's really not marketable to anybody except that individual that lives next door. It's assessed at $4,600. Purchase price is $2,500. It's not unduly unreasonable. And I don't recommend against it, you know, if the council chooses. And it'll add another small piece to our tax rolls.
Right, and it could be, the assessed valuation would still be at the 4,000 plus.
Right, it's still gonna be assessed at its fair market.
Anyone have any questions on item number 11?
Pay taxes
Yeah,
Correct.
it should be the amount, correct, that it's a set valuation. All right, moving on to item number 12, from the city controller, request city council approve attached quote for proposed conversion, citywide software integration solution to the urgency associated with the situation. Ask the city council please authorize revision and execute and implement the proposed conversion. The two things I'd like to say here. First of all, with the current software and the current computer company that we've been associated with, the city has experienced a delay in sending out the tax bills. That has been remedied. The tax bill should be going out shortly, if not within the next day, if it didn't go out today. Some went out today, Gail?
About 80% went out today.
Okay, so that situation is pretty much remedied. However, the current software has significant deficiencies and pretty much renders useless that program to various departments, such as the treasurer's office and other departments, so that we hopefully would consider, it's not a cheap program, but we really should invest in bringing that program into the 21st century. Anyone have any questions on item number 12? Carl?
tax bills going out late, do they have to pay penalties or interest? If they do get
Well, I don't know quite how to answer that. If there may be an attempt from the law department to waive interest and penalties if the late payment is due to the failure to send out timely tax bills, but I don't know if that's still an issue because the tax bills are going out and they're just, it's just a matter of days being late. So I don't think an attempt is gonna be made to waive penalties and interest. A robocall did go out by Mayor Iafallo advising the citizens of Lackawanna that this is what we're experiencing and that they're free to come in and pay their tax bills. Mr. Judah, do you have an update on that?
Well, I just, you know, for the record, and for anybody who might be watching, there's 3 ways to pay your taxes. One is you can come into City Hall and pay them. I believe you can pay them online. Or 3, you can call the city, get the amount, and then pay them either off your credit card or send in a check or whatever. And as long as your check is postmarked by the due date, which in this case, for city taxes would be what, August 31st, you're good. So there's really no reason to waive any interest and penalties. Certainly the city will listen to any arguments that someone might have, but the fact of the matter is the state statute does not provide for waiving interest and penalties. So, you know, unless you can prove that you didn't get the bill for some reason or another, you're going to be hard pressed to for the city to waive any interest or penalties.
Thank you, Mr. Judah.
So,
And we'll certainly work with anyone, you know, whether that be, and I talked to the mayor about this, if there's senior citizens out there that can't get to City Hall, we'll send the senior van out to pick you up so that you could bring you up to City Hall to pay your taxes. Certainly anybody else, these young people are technologically advanced. They know how to go online and take care of everything. So there should be no reason why you can't pay a tax on time.
so I know we're saying that it's been late, but how late can you quantify?
So normally, I believe our taxes would go out, and Joyce isn't here, but I think the taxes used to go out the end of July, maybe August 1st to August 5th at the latest. So we're probably, 10 days late?
Well, is there a 10-day grace period added then? I
No.
know we're talking about waiving, but
No.
at the same time, I think there should be some consideration at least.
Well, that may be on an individual basis, depending on need, and as Rick had indicated, that person's ability to demonstrate it was the failure to receive a timely tax notice that caused them to pay late.
But we understand that there was already a delay. We
Right.
already know that, so why should the burden be on the individual while we know that it was our technological?
So there's nothing in the state statute that says we have to get them out by a certain date. And as of today's the 15th, so if they're mailed today and 80% of them went out today, so if it takes them 3 days to get them, they still have 13 days, and all it's gotta be is postmarked. Again, so a lot of people that like to pay, you know, I know a lot of the older people like to come in and pay cash, or they do whatever. So the senior citizens van's available, you can pay them online, there's more than one option, and we have drop boxes as well. So
It's not even.
I understand what you're
It's
saying.
the ability to come up with some of these funds. It's hard for people to pay these.
I understand, but people should know that their taxes come due every August, so it's not like nobody knows taxes aren't coming out, so.
Okay, anyone else?
Council President, I just add something.
Yeah,
The tax rate did not change, so if they have a copy of their tax bill or their receipt, they're gonna pay the same amount. There's no change.
Understood.
Right, and we're not gonna return a check if it's a couple dollars less or a couple dollars more, we'll
Right,
refund.
but there's new homeowners that are very
Absolutely.
new to all of this, so we have to
Absolutely.
consider them as well.
okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I have some questions on item number 12.
Yes.
Controller. I think the public would like to know, said, where the funds gonna come from to implement the first phase?
Part of the funds for the first phase have been encumbered from leftover from the prior budget year.
Right.
And in the current budget year, we did budget a certain amount. And if there's additional available, we've been talking with the mayor about certain grant sources. And if we need to implement the phases a little quicker due to the inherent issues that we continue to discover, we might have to go into fund balance, but not without notifying the council and
Right,
getting
that's what I was worried
approval
about.
ahead of
I
time.
thought, what I'm bringing up is I thought that some of the CARE Act money could be used.
ARPA, yes,
Okay, well, that's what I wanted.
yes.
That
That's
seems
part
to
of the
be an
grant.
option.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
okay.
It hasn't been decided, it's just
Right.
something that the mayor was considering.
In the future phases, are they gonna be in the budget
Yes,
this year?
yes. Or if, like I said, we need to implement some of the phases quicker this year, we'll let you know, we'll keep you informed and request your approval before we do
Right,
anything.
that's great. And some of this seems kind of open-ended, quotes and that. Everything's going up with inflation. One other question I got is the implementation hours, we'll assume a work split effort of 70% of the client, 30% of Tyler. What is that, feeding the information in?
I believe that we supply, like a chart of accounts or whatever payroll codes we want to use and how we're using them. And then they help with the programming. And then we make sure that it all works the way we want it to.
Just one more question, I know the answer, but why wasn't it in this year's budget? We just started August 1st. Obviously, you started all this after that, right?
I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I started on March 1st.
Right.
And budget process started in April. And between March and I would say June is when a lot of these deficiencies presented themselves and the urgent need presented.
What?
Urgent need presented,
Right, okay.
The
Thank you.
problems weren't discovered till after the budget process.
yes.
Right, well, I understand, I just wanted the public to, thank you.
Anyone else on item number 12? Moving on to item number 13, City Controller requests City Council approve city officials on the attached list to attend New York Conference of Mayors and Municipal Officials, NICOM for short, annual meeting September 12th through September 16th, 2022. Funds are budgeted and available in each respective department for travel. Anyone have any questions on item number 13? Moving on to item number 14, again from City Controller, request City Council approve inter-fund transfer between general fund and capital fund to segregate funds that have already been received for the dog park project on East Milner Avenue. If the council remembers, the city received $150,000 for 3 different projects. $50,000 was earmarked for the dog park. At that time was considered for East Milner. It's now being moved. But I believe, Linda, you're requesting that that money be transferred into a separate account for that.
Correct.
Anyone have any questions? Item number 14. We got item number 15, again for City Controller, request City Council approve, allowing mayor to sign and execute attached proposal engagement letter from EFPR Group CPAs, which extends their audit engagement to be associated with the group's total services, total of $16,500 for the fiscal year ending July 31st, 2022. I believe this is an ongoing firm that does our audits on a regular basis there.
That is correct.
All right, anyone have any questions on item number 15? Moving on to item number 16, communication from citizens. Just for the public to know, the communications from all citizens will be taken up individually at the regular part of the meeting. And of course, you're welcome to come forward in case there's any questions to direct to the city council. What I hope to do is summarize the individual requests directed to a department head for a response, and then if there's a follow-up question by the sender, if the sender is present, then we can do that at that time. I just would caution, we're limited to 3 minutes. Obviously, we don't usually follow that, but I would request that nothing protracted be involved here. And if a discussion is needed for further augmentation or clarification, I would suggest that possibly an appointment be made with the individual department head if there is a question. So that takes us pretty much to business registrations. The first one is Dex Skolsky, DBA Skolsky Motors, 3228 South Park Avenue. I will be making a motion to table that, and the reason for my requesting that motion is because of additional information I am requesting on that particular application. Anyone have any or want any input on that application at this time? Next item is Joshua Tim, DBA 88 South Barbershop, Personal Care Services, 1477 Abbott Road. Anyone have any input on that? And the last one is Carlos announcing here, Brown, DBA Buffalo Key Holders LLC, Indoor Skate Park, 3600 Amber Turnpike. Anyone have any questions on that? If there are any members of the audience who want to address the council as we start the regular council meeting, aside from those who sent written communications, you'll have to sign a sign-up sheet requesting the time to address the council, which we will take early on in a council meeting. Unless there's anything further, we'll take a brief recess until 7 o'clock to call the regular meeting to order.
in the last 15 years.
Every 30 days, the same thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, department heads, city council members, I would like to call the regular meeting of Lackawanna City Council for Monday, August 15th, 2022 to order. I would ask everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. City Clerk, would you call the roll?
Absolutely. Councilman Muflahi.
Present.
Anderson. Here. Moretti. Here. Sirdike. Present. Morano.
Here.
Department heads, Law.
I'm here.
Development.
Here.
Public Works.
Here.
Public Safety. Here. Controller.
Here.
Recreation.
Here.
Public Information.
I am here.
Hearing from citizens, Mr. Council President.
We have Mr. Hank Klubeck. Mr. Klubeck, you want to come forward to the podium and address your comments to the city council and tell us what your subject is according to your, it's 3228 South Park Avenue.
Right, that was for the full ski motors, for the building next to the creek now. Full ski motors owns the building on South Park and Sharon Park. We owned it for a couple of years. It's a mess right now. A couple of months ago, he got permission to do some work on there. Got it all tore up. There's an unsafe condition even there. There's a hole maybe 3 foot tall. There's no fences, no nothing around. It's about 5 foot from the curb. Piles of dirt, piles of rock, tree stuff, nothing being down there. Now there's tire tracks. They're driving up and down over it seems. And it's just a mess over there. He's planning on opening up the place next door is what he wants to do. Right now he's in there, he's working as it is. There's a number of vehicles there that are in pretty bad shape. And he works on Sundays, places there on Sundays. He got his vehicles out on the blacktop of the front, tearing them apart, doing whatever he's doing there. Tuesday night, he was in there till way past 10 at night, spray painting a car. There's no spray booth in that place. It's just a garage with maybe some fans or something in there. Fumes come, prevailing wind is west wind. I live east of him, so I get well, I don't live in the house on 34, my tenants do. They get a whiff of that fumes all the time. It's just a mess. There's piles of scrap in their yard now already. Vehicles parked, like I say, I don't think he should be running one business if he gets one straightened out. I mean, running 2 businesses. He got, like I said, the one he's been in for quite a number of years now. And it's a mess. There's never no improvements. There's junk. Well, it's like a junkyard, whatever he looks like. This one's beginning to look like that already. He's only had it for a couple of short months. It's got to look like a junkyard. So I don't think he should be given a permit for that till he gets the first one cleaned up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Klubeck. We'll take your comments into consideration. And next on the sign-up sheet is Mr. Dax Skalski, 3244 South Park. And that's regarding his premises, 3228 South Park.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening.
The property that he's talking about in hand is a paint shop right now, or was prior to me buying it. GDS Automotive had ran it for I think 20 plus years. So the codes and everything is done to the area. It does have the filtration system put in there. It's been checked over prior to me even buying the property because Gary's been painting there. The work in progress at 3244 South Park has nothing to do with what's going on here today. But just also 3244 South Park, the work is being done. We have a broken excavator on the property right now. I am waiting for a company to come in to repair it. And the gas line was ruptured. So therefore the gas company told me not to fill the hole because they're just gonna come in and get to the pipe right there and they're gonna put new service in. As far as cars that are on the property, there are 3 cars on the repair shop end over there. And they are cars that 2 of them are actually Gary's which still owns the business. And it is still legally, technically it is GDS right now. His licenses are still on there. He hasn't removed his 2 vehicles from there. The other 2 cars that are there are cars that are getting repairs because I have a temporary use of business license, I believe it is. So, I mean, on that behalf, I mean, like I said, I'm working at cleaning up both properties. It is only me I have nobody else backing me with this. This is literally my business, my livelihoods. And I'm just trying to get everything done before it even hits winter, so that everything is all cleaned up, every fence is up, everything is done, and we are done. So that is my plan with, the two properties. So,
Can I just I have one question, Council President. It's my understanding the gas line was ruptured as a result of some misinformation that you got from the utility, correct?
yes, I did call the 611, the UDIG people. They came out, marked everything, told me there was nothing on the property. We started working, and lo and behold, there's a gas line. We immediately stopped what we were doing, called the gas company. They came out, capped it. I told them not to even reattach my building because they said that for some reason, somebody, I guess there's a tracer line or something, and it's not hooked up. It was not hooked up when they originally came out and looked. So they didn't even know the gas line was there, which I would have found it somewhere. So they want to put a whole new service in once we are done doing all of ours, because they don't even know where the gas line goes.
So right now, it's not an unsafe condition?
Yes, no, the gas line, everything is capped off. The gas company was there. The hole is there just because the gas company told me to leave it. I have one piece of concrete left that is right next to the machine head.
Okay, and the other question I have is, you heard the gentleman before you.
Yes.
Are there open pits there that you could put plywood over or something so that nobody would fall down?
The only spot that's open right now is where the gas company and the machine is sitting. And if need be, I could put a net up. It's no big deal. If anybody just tells me, I have no problem doing it. It's no big deal. I put cones up, whatever we need to do. I'm not trying to cause a problem. I'm, just trying to clean up the whole back lot and make the area usable that was never usable when I purchased my property.
I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
Who owns the property that's the subject of this application?
Which the property, the 3244?
Is that the address that you sent the recent application in for?
No, that's for the GDS property.
Okay, who owns the GDS?
I have just recently purchased GDS.
So you have title to it?
Yes,
You received a deed?
yes,
So the property is in your name?
Yes.
And you are therefore responsible for the number of cars and the upkeep of that property, correct?
I am below the number. I got the paper when I
I
purchased
have a
it.
simple question for you. Are you responsible for the upkeep of the property?
Yes,
Okay. Now, as a city council, contrary to what you said earlier, that we are here strictly to talk about that piece of property, we are not.
Okay.
Because we as a city council have to take into consideration, for instance, past practices,
Okay.
your past business, and how you get along with the public. You can consider yourself a good neighbor.
I actually help all my neighbors. I have about 7 cars that I service on Sharon Parkway. I've done lockout on Sharon Parkway. I help anybody as best as they can if they come over and ask me to do anything. I never have shied away from any of my neighbors to help them.
Was there an inspection of the paint booth recently?
The inspection of the paint booth was done when I purchased the property.
When was that?
Which would have been the fire inspector, everything came in about a month ago.
Was there an environmental inspection?
An environmental inspection for
Yeah, did anyone determine whether the filtration system is adequate?
the filtration system's newer in there, I was told, when I bought the
My
property.
question again is, did anyone determine whether the filtration system currently in there is adequate according to code and according to New York State
According
regulations?
to the code enforcement, the building is, it was just
I'm asking
recently,
about the building. I'm asking-
I don't know.
Well, then it's your responsibility, it's your property, and this is what we have to take into consideration if you want to consider yourself a good neighbor. So that's why I'm asking.
But I
the
have
question.
bought a business
So
that is running.
Is your answer you don't know?
I have bought a building that is operating. It's not a closed down building. This is something that already has licenses right now to work in the city of Lackawanna. That was prior. So if I didn't buy it, Gary would still be working there for
So
the
you-
next 20 years
so
with
you're
the same
saying-
filtration system.
So you're saying that whatever filtration system he used was transferable to you as the new owner?
That's what I was told. Everything in the building and everything, it's a running licensed operation that I bought. It's not a closed down business. It was an operating business as of right now.
I understand. You said you consider yourself a good neighbor, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you feel that paying your taxes is a requirement of being a good neighbor?
I ran into a hardship during 18.
My question to you is, do you feel paying your taxes to the city of Lackawanna is necessary to be a good neighbor and to be a viable business in the city of Lackawanna, and something that we need to consider as a council for your application for your next door business. So let me understand it. You just hold that question for a minute. You had your property on the corner of Sharon Parkway and South Park.
Yes,
You didn't pay taxes on that, but you had the money to buy the property next door. Is that correct?
my taxes are paid.
You paid them today, right?
Yes, they are paid.
You paid them at the 11th hour because you knew you were coming before the city council for your application.
That had
Otherwise-
nothing to do with this.
Oh, it certainly does.
No, it does not have nothing to do with this. I had a hardship.
And you know, I respect that,
Like I said, you don't know, and I don't have to tell you what has happened
and
to
I'm
me.
not asking you
But
what it is.
For 2
I'm not
years,
asking you what it is, but you're before this council, and what you say to us will be taken into
I
consideration.
understand that.
Now, my point to you was, you had the money to buy the property next door, you didn't have the money to buy your taxes.
I
So
have
you're
done this
behind
all
in
the
your
same-
taxes
I-
for 3 years, correct?
I am doing this all at the same time. I have had the money that has just came in over the last few months to be able to do all this. That's why I have done it all. That's why the back lot I have gone for my approval for the back lot. That's why I have everything going on right now. It's because I just have the money now.
How many vehicles are you allowed to store on your property on Sharon and South Park?
The 3244,
Is that what it is?
that is, which one are we talking about?
We're not talking about the new property, we're talking about your existing.
I don't have a limit.
There's no limit. on
There's
the
no
property.
limit. When I bought my property, there was no limit for any cars. I can hold up to 50 cars on there if need be. I had no limit when I bought
And
it.
there is a limit, there's up to 50.
No,
cars,
I'm
is that
just
right?
saying, I can hold up to, that's what I feel is a comfortable fit around the lot. But there is no limit on what actually can go on my lot.
Up to 50.
For me to say comfortably for fire, for me to say, it's not on paper.
Okay,
When I bought the business, there was nothing on paper on how many cars I can hold on my lot.
all right. Any of the council members have any questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Skolsky. Anything else you want to add?
No.
That's it.
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 11th, 2022.
Morano moves to adopt minutes of the regular meeting of July 11th, 2022 is written.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to adopt minutes of the regular meeting of July 11th, 2022 is written. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Departmental reports 1 through 4.
Morano moves to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 4 inclusive.
Moretti second. Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 4. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Communications from division department heads, number 5. Director Recreation requests the City Council approve the use of Franklin Playground by the Global Concepts Charter High School Soccer Team. Proof of insurance has been provided.
Morano moves to approve request.
What is that? Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 6, Director of Recreation requests the City Council approve the use of Memorial Field on Ridge Road by the Varsity Gay Kickball League each Monday between September 22nd, 2022 and November 10th, 2022, and also approve the attached lease agreement pertaining to same. Proof of insurance is attached.
Morano moves to approve request.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Item number 7, City Attorney requests the City Council review, approve, and authorize the mayor to execute the attached memorandums of understanding between the city and CSEA Local 1000, Local 815-6775-02. The first deals with a stipend for the city's website management, the second for additional duties assigned to the code enforcement officer. Complete text of the agreements are on file in the city clerk's office.
Morano moves to approve stipend for the city's website manager.
Second.
Sorry, who's the second? Kevin. So I have a motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to approve the stipend for the city's website manager. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
Morano moves to approve stipend for additional duties assigned to the city code enforcement officer.
Second.
I have a motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to approve the stipend for additional duties assigned to the code enforcement officer. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes.
carried 5-0. Number 8, city attorney requests the city council approve the attached contract between Erie County and the city of Lackawanna regarding Center Street water main and road reconstruction. Complete text of the agreement is on file in city clerk's office.
Morano moves to approve request.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Item number 10, item number 9 was withdrawn. City attorney requests city council approve the attached ordinance amending Lackawanna Municipal Code Chapter 12, city-owned real estate disposition of, specifically Chapter 12-3, powers of city ordinance providing sale of property.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to receive and file act on ordinance. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. That ordinance amending section 12-3 of the city of Lackawanna Municipal Code empowering the city to sell, lease, or dispose of its real property or any interest therein when no longer required for its purposes by enactment of an ordinance.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to adopt ordinance as written. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 11, city assessor requests the city council approve the sale of 7-19 Johnson Street to the owner of the adjacent property at 23 Johnson Street, Conrad Mankey, for the sum of $2,500. Details for the recommendation are included with the communication.
Morano moves to approve request.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 12, city controller requests the city council approve the attached quote for the proposed conversion to the citywide software integration solution. Due to the urgency associated with this situation, I would ask the city council please authorize revision if it's necessary and to execute and implement the proposed conversion.
Morano moves to approve request.
Already second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 13, city controller requests the city council approve city officials on the attached list to attend the New York Conference of Mayors Municipal Officials, NICOM, annual meeting to be held September 12, 2022 through September 16, 2022 in Saratoga Springs, New York. Ample funds are budgeted and available in each respective department's travel account.
Morano moves to approve request.
Muflahi seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Muflahi to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 14, city controller requests the city council approve an interfund transfer between the general fund and the capital fund to segregate funds that have already been received to the dog park project on East Milner Avenue.
Muflahi moves to receive and file and act on ordinance.
Second.
Who's my second? Sirdike. Do we want to, for the record, change the location of this from East Milner? You want to leave it?
I'd leave it as it is right now. There was no request to have the location changed in this communication.
All right, so we have a motion by Muflahi, second by Sirdike to receive and file act on ordinance. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. The ordinance amending the 2021-2022 budget ordinance adopted May 18, 2021 by increasing appropriations for the capital project entitled Dog Park East Milnor, transferring $50,000 from budget code to deferred revenues and adding $50,000 to the budget code for Dog Park East Milnor.
Motion to approve ordinance.
Already second.
Motion by Sirdike, second by Anderson to adopt the ordinance as written. I know you can't hear him, Dean, but he's here. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 15, city controller requests the city council approve allowing the mayor to sign and execute the attached proposal and engagement letter from EFPR Group CPAs, which extends their audit engagement. The fees associated with EFPR Group's services total $16,500 for the fiscal year ending July 31st, 2022.
Morano moves to approve request.
Already said. Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Communications from citizens, number 16. Denise Abbott, President of the Buffalo Central Labor Council, AFL-CIO, requests the City Council approve the utilization of Dorrance Avenue for their annual Labor Day Parade on Monday, September 5th, 2022. Lining up will commence at 11 a.m. with the parade starting at 12 noon. Parade route is attached.
Morano moves to approve request.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 17, Kevin Pegley, President of Lackawanna Little League Football, requests the City Council approve their use of veteran stadium practicing between September 5th, 2022 and November 11th, 2022. Proof of insurance is attached.
Maflahe moves to approve the request.
Motion by Muflahi, second by Anderson to approve request. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 18, Mary Kristevsky, resident, submits a communication regarding community meetings.
In that communication, it indicates, hello, Mr. DeGusquale, my understanding is that there is a city hall meeting on the 15th, a notice is needed the Wednesday prior to add to the agenda. I would like to request that there is unity between wards and representation of their constituents. My understanding is the first and second ward have monthly community meetings, however, other wards do not. I would like to encourage that the fourth ward also have monthly meetings to discuss concerns as well as discuss community unity topics. If this topic could be further discussed, I would appreciate it. As this is my first time putting in a request, is there anything I need to do? What are the next steps? Is Mary Kristevsky in the court? Could you please go forward?
That email was actually written prior to speaking with Mr. Sturdike. Mr. Sturdike and I already touched base. Just, with COVID and everything isolated, and seeing on social media that there are, meetings of the first ward and second ward, I thought it would be a nice idea to kind of create that unity, get people connected, and even maybe have a shindig for all the wards at one point, just to connect everybody and build that unity and have an established place to discuss any concerns or praises too, because as I spoke with Mr. Sturdike, I did have a lot of praises for the fourth ward as well. There's a lot of good stuff going on as well. So, and something's in the works.
And Mary, thank you for your interest. I think it's a great idea. And I think communication, as we all on the council, I think that's a paramount to elected representatives and their constituents. Council member Sirdike, do you have any comments you want to add?
Oh, yeah, always got comments. I had a great conversation with Mrs. Trustee and kind of explained to her that summer's bad for people in the fourth ward. We're all working, hustling 2 jobs, trying to pay our taxes, and city football games and baseball, picnics, and weddings. So we decided we're gonna wait till maybe after the kids get back in school and get settled in, maybe early October, we're gonna start having meetings. So, oh yeah. I also explained to her that we have public hearings and we get nobody that shows up. So hopefully we'll get it on the website and put some flyers up. We'll get it going in early October. So I appreciate you bringing it up and looking forward to it. You're more than welcome.
If I may, just go on record, in the event that there ever is a city council, or sorry, not a city council meeting, but a meeting for the community in my ward or in other wards, you're welcome to attend. We may not have information directly for you at the time, but to get to know us better and to get a feel of what we do, you're always welcome, and that goes out to the public as well. They're always welcome to join in, and I bring snacks, so. Thank you so much.
What kind of snacks?
I do.
You
don't
bring snacks. I have the same one.
What is that?
I love your coffee cup. I have the same one.
Councilmember will fly. What kind of snack?
That's for you to find out when you attend the meeting.
The enticement, huh?
Yes.
Okay, as far as item number 18, Morano moves to receive and file.
Maflahe second. Oh, Sirdike, it's all yours.
A motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to receive and file. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Item number 19, Teresa Wetz, resident, submits a communication regarding Center Street paving and water park at Franklin Playground.
Her communication indicates, hi, I would like to discuss Center Street paving, as it has been decided for 3 years. Also, discuss the possible water park at Franklin Playground. I understand I was required kind of my concerns before the next meeting, August 15th, by Wednesday at noon. Is Teresa Woods present?
I am.
Would you come forward, please?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so the gentleman did answer a lot of questions as far as the street goes. You guys were waiting for the sewer and the water. My question is, when will they start digging? Mary had told me maybe in the fall, is that correct?
Tony, I would defer that to you.
So yeah, we actually just had a meeting on this yesterday. We're looking to start the bid opening for the job will be on the 19th, so we'll have to come before the council. Yeah, and once the council approves the contractor, digging should start within the next 10 days after that. So we're looking at possibly, start of October.
Okay, and then they're not gonna pave it till the spring?
Yes.
Okay, what about, it's silly, but are there gonna be curbs? I mean, like, really
Curbs,
good stuff?
yes.
Okay,
Brand new street.
all right. And as far as the splash park goes, I do believe I had that on there.
Yes, you
I have
did.
that on there? Okay. I talked with the mayor, she helped me a little bit with the information. I'm concerned with the positioning of everything on the splash park. Like, where the park itself is going. Is that going where all the rides were?
Well, we as the council aren't deciding that.
Oh, who decides that? Who do I speak to?
Tony, is there a formal rendering that locates all this?
So, I mean, and Lauren could jump in anytime you want. It's gonna be located close to Franklin, where the playground, where the old basketball court is now.
Okay, the basketball court, is that gonna stay and get it
Center, I'm sorry,
upgraded?
center, yes. Yes, there's a new basketball court going on, right?
The plan at this point is the basketball court is going to be repurposed for parking, and we are going to put out for bid for a newly installed basketball court at another location on the property. The footprint of the water park has to be kind of in place before we can put in a new basketball court, so there will be no basketball court for the time during the water park construction,
Okay.
but it will be replaced with a brand new court.
Okay, I'm just concerned because my mother lives literally right next door to where the basketball court is now.
Mhm.
So I was concerned about the cars and the parking,
Yeah.
how that's gonna affect her living, her quality of life
Like,
there.
again, the existing basketball court is gonna be repurposed
Correct.
for parking.
Right, well, that's what I mean for the parking itself though.
Yeah.
Because the way this world is now with the parking so close to the fence
Mhm.
and her house right there and she lives on the bottom floor, I had concerns about.
Okay.
That won't interfere with
The fence is staying,
the
nothing.
fence is staying, the fence will still be up. The parking is actually gonna be on close to center.
Well, she is on center.
Yeah, but it's gonna be on the opposite side of the playground equipment is right now. So it's gonna be a little bit away from her house.
No, that is her house. She is where the basketball court is now.
Right. So
The house after the playground?
after the playground, I thought she was before the playground.
No, she's right at the stop sign. Well, it depends which way you're going. If you're going up center, right side the house, right before the playground. Where the parking lot's gonna be is her house.
I
So I had a
don't
concern
really
with
think
that.
she's gonna have a problem with parking or anything of that nature, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be parking on Clinton too, so.
Okay.
I know you had
Okay.
you had a question about water, maybe don't get into her
I
basement.
was concerned about that as well.
Yeah, that'll never happen. I think the system is operated by a sensor, so it's not constant running. Water's not gonna be constantly running. The only
Okay.
time it's gonna be running if kids are inside playing in it.
Okay,
So if there's nobody in there, that water will be shut off completely.
all right. And
Before you continue, Director Jednick, our Director of Development, I don't know if you have anything to add to what was just.
Well, if you'd like to come in and, I can show you what I have with regards to design. We are currently the engineers that are doing it are currently in final design right now,
Okay.
but our plan is to break ground this year with the installation of the inclusive playground. And it's gonna be a phased project. So if you'd like to give me a call and set up an appointment, I'd be happy to make time for
I
you.
would like that.
Yeah.
Do you have, when this is over, I could get your card or?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, and your name is?
Lauren Jednack.
Okay. Okay, that's what I had. Thank you.
Okay, Teresa, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is a communication from Faith Gordon. Oh, excuse me. Morano moves to receive and file.
Ready, sir. Motion by Morano, seconded by Moretti to receive and file. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
Regarding the communication from Faith Gordon, Faith, you want to come forward? The first item is just a statement, besides the efforts being put forth by John Ingram, former council member of First Ward, who else at City Hall is actively working on the NFTA bus and shelter issue, and what are the results? Any of the department heads been assigned this issue?
The reason I'm asking is because, I mean, John was, when he was council person, he was working on this, and he's not even getting paid by the city anymore, and he's working on this issue for the city, and I'm just wondering who else at City Hall who's getting paid is actually actively working on this problem that affects the citizens of Lackawanna.
I don't believe any department has been assigned that task.
Well, then
Have
I'm
you
gonna
spoken to the
defer
mayor?
that one to John, because he has it on his agenda.
Yeah, and we will take it up with John Ingram also.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, 3204 South Park, being abandoned, cars in driveway, overgrown grass, house reported up. Next to the Italian club, it's hideous, Italian club, I'm sure is disgusted. Any of the department heads have any update on that that address, that location?
I can give you an update. I spoke to code enforcement. We do have an order to cut the grass, which has been delayed with the DPW just because it's a busy time, but we are, working on it. We're aware of the situation. So there is an order to cut the grass.
Is it taking it any further than that?
Well,
Is that city-owned property, I'm wondering?
No, I think Councilman Anderson has a comment for you.
Yeah, that property was just purchased by a gentleman, Scott Hayes was just talking to him. He's gonna be going in there, and as soon as he can, just start cutting and remodeling it all.
Great, good, thank you, because we all know how we want our businesses to.
He called me this afternoon, he said he purchased the land or the property, and he was waiting to get in there. Getting the okay from the city, the city was the one that wanted it outright. So he had to get permission to get in there.
Thank you.
Our next item, Faith, is item number 3. What progress is being made on new City Hall? That is an ongoing project. I know it's a slow process. Any of the department heads have any update on that item? Either Tony?
I can help you out there. Yeah, we've been meeting with our engineers and architects. We have a preliminary phase of the design of the floor print of the building. We just made some changes to that 2 days ago, and they're gonna come back next week. And hopefully we'll have further design on the building. So it's like Mr. Morano said, it's an ongoing process. If you're asking when it's gonna be started, I couldn't even give you an answer on that. Yeah, I can't even give you an answer on start date or any of that.
I think everybody's anxious,
Sure. Believe me, I am too.
Yeah. Okay, item number 4 on Faith's request in January 2019, city got $465,000 grant to fix up Veterans Stadium. What is the current status of the improvements? Tony, I believe you're on that one too.
I'm on that one too, yeah. So we just had the New York State Parks grant approve the boundary map. And we're asking them now, a portion of that money was allocated towards redoing the trail that runs along the creek. The DEC redid that portion. It's all new over there. So we have to move that money from that allocated to that path back into the park, which would help us with the back diamond, some volleyball courts, the ice rink, and the pavilion. So we're moving on that too. We've actually done a lot since Mr. Judah worked on that map. And again, that's gonna be another slow process. I don't see that happening until possibly end of next year.
There were some title issues with the property that had to be clarified first.
Thank you.
Okay. Faith, your item number 5, the old McDonald's on Ridge Road near South Shore. Looks like there's some activity. You're opening out another cell phone store. As far as I know, there is no plan or anything that's been presented to the city director.
Yeah, we're not aware of any activity that is going on currently, but we'll keep an eye out on it.
There has been activity there.
What kind?
And, people, looks like they're doing work on it, or what? You were telling me about it.
Yeah, there was some activity going on over there for a while. It was like 2 or 3 days you were working around, and then stopping it. In the building itself, or inside the building, or outside? Outside the building.
What kind of work?
Yeah, what,
Were they cutting the grass? Okay.
Well, maybe now that it's on your radar,
Maybe we
somebody
can
can
follow
look.
up on it.
It's not a city-owned property.
It's private property. As long as
You
they're
know,
not
it's been
breaking the
empty
law.
since Moby Dick was a
It
sardine.
doesn't matter, as long as they're maintaining it, and it's not violating the law, there's nothing we can really do. I'd like to see a hotel or something.
Hey, item number 6, what was the point in spending all that money on, to pave Electric Avenue only to have the water authority come in and dig up sections and replace the valves? Did anyone think it would make sense to coordinate with the county for them to do their work before the paving was done? We've always tried to get that prior to any paving, but, and hopefully, as we indicated earlier, through Tony's help and Rick Judah's help and the mayor's efforts, a template's been established to avoid that in the future. But Tony, do you have any comments on item number 6?
Yes, I do. So that was paved in 2015, which is 7 years ago. At that time, the Water Authority had no plans on putting a sewer main there. Now, let me answer your question
I'm gonna
first.
rescind this one because, I was in error when I was referring to that specific spot on Electric Avenue, and it came to my attention afterwards that I was referring to the wrong section, so I'd like to take that off of strike that item.
I
Thank
was
you,
interested in hearing the answer, but that's okay.
Tony. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Somebody thought we.
No comment.
I should have stopped.
He'll talk to me
before.
later. And Faith, you have item number 7. We have an officer that's dedicated to traffic and safety. Besides being on Route 5 and Ridge Road, I'd like to see the officer targeting some of the residential areas for speeding and stop sign violations. This would generate revenue for the city. I've seen a vehicle or 2 or more use the center turning lane on South Park for passing lane from Warsaw to Cleveland, blowing past every car in the right-hand lane. You know, Faith, I think we've all experienced that. We not only has our community experienced problems with speeders and people violating the rules of the road, but I don't know if our police department has enough manpower to cover all this. But I'll allow our director of public safety or city attorney, whoever.
Can I?
Yes.
I was in traffic court last Thursday, and we had a ton of tickets. And a lot of those tickets were for passing on the right. Some of the other statutes that I haven't seen in 20 years in Lackawanna. I had to look them up. But they're starting to write tickets out there, so unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of traffic that goes through these roads, but, you know, we're sending a message, and people were paying a lot of fines this past week, so.
This particular situation was the guy using the center turning lane
Yes.
and just hiking it
We're
down
up,
there.
the police department's up over 40% from last year on tickets.
Okay, and then, of course, my ongoing situation with, I think if we could just get a police car to show up periodically at the dead end and.
I think we're gonna take that, that stop sign down.
Which.
I'm just kidding.
We'll be talking in the back over here, okay? I mean, if there would just be one there periodically that would nail a couple people, then I think these other people that come through and just blow right through it would think twice about it. If there was periodically, there was, you know, we've already talked about what was a good last night.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but like we talked about at the second ward meeting, Faith, you're one of, and for good reason, you're one of hundreds of people that call up, leave messages, send emails saying the stop sign here, the stop sign here, the stop sign here, the turning, the speeders, you know, we're doing what we can. Again, we're up 40%. We're not going to get them all, but we're going to do our best. And the more manpower we do get over the next couple of years, and I'm definitely pushing for that, talk to the council and the mayor about that. That'll definitely help things.
Well, I hope those other people that are making their feelings known about this don't just stop.
Well, Faith, I've seen on 2 occasions, somebody in a vehicle didn't like the long line on Ridge Road, drove down the sidewalk and went around traffic that way, twice, I've seen it.
And you didn't put your blue light on and pull them over? Come on,
I
Fred.
ran out of tickets.
Well, okay, well, that issue of them blowing the stop signs in that area is just one that's gonna be, might as well just make it a reoccurring item on the agenda. I've got license plate numbers on these people, I know who they are, and I also am aware that the police department can't just go over and talk to somebody because I took a picture of a license plate. And that isn't my job, but if a kid is coming around there and that person blows that stop sign and they kill, and they injure that kid or do some damage, you better be coming to me because I wanna make sure I show up in court, because I want every one of those people slow down that street and don't even think about touching their brakes.
Faith, can I say something? We had a problem on South Shore too, and this has been going on for over a year.
No.
And there was a couple of cars that were disobeying, going through stop signs, passing cars on South Shore, and it was ridiculous, passing them on the curb lane and the other side. I was trying to do the neighborly thing first, and I figured out who they were. And I talked to a friend of mine who went down and talked to the parents, and they were very cooperative while talking to their children to stop doing it, because there's a boom of young children on my street now, and I hate to see something like that happen. But you have to, you have to follow it up. If you said you have license plate numbers, then maybe you could find out where they live and maybe go down and talk to their parents or send somebody down to.
They're not kids, they're adults.
Well, then again, I always try to do the neighborly thing first. Even if you sent them a letter and say, please, be careful. We have children here. You're going too fast. You're passing cars. Just, you don't even have to put your name on. Just do it anonymously. And maybe. Pardon me?
I don't do anything anonymous.
Well, then put your name
If
on.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, you go
I'm
right
gonna
ahead,
make
put
sure
your
you
name
know
on.
exactly where it's
Okay,
coming
fine.
from.
You're
I'm not
kidding.
shy.
But the reason is, what I'm trying to say is, you don't want to get into an argument with anybody, because that gets you nowhere, okay? Because they're going to get defensive, but if you try it nicely, it usually works. That's all I'm trying to say.
We'll think about that, but thank you.
Thank you for sending in the written communication, Faith, we appreciate it.
I can-
3 minutes are up.
I'm on the road.
I didn't say you could. Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, next on the
No, we need a
agenda,
motion to.
motion to receive and file, Morano.
Moretti second. So I have a motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. We got item number 21, Desmond I. Glover, President, Codex Elite Sports Training, requests the City Council approve the use of Veterans Stadium for flag football on the previously approved dates in August through October. I'm not sure why they included that portion. But they also want to include hosting local vendors and businesses, including a local clothing shop, local food vendor, a beer, alcohol, tent, security, and much more. A cleanup crew shall be provided for these events.
I would move to receive and file and refer this to Director of Public Safety and comment on the request for vendors, so on and so forth, whether those require special licenses. And maybe table that portion of the request until we find out what.
Would the Director of Recreation know anything about that or not?
This was previously submitted for strictly use for flag football games and was previously approved by the council. Any of these extracurricular events, I would have to defer to you on those.
Okay. Very good. Let me check. I'll check.
Those are Mondays.
So my recommendation, just want to just table it any further information.
Okay.
And leave it at that. Let whoever powers it be.
I withdraw my motion to receive and file and renew a motion to, and make a motion to table.
I have a motion by Morano, second by Moretti, to table the citing pending additional information to be obtained. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
Yes, sir.
Got a communication.
Our next is a communication from John Ingram, former council member. 3 items. Item number 1, I would like to ask the council to take a more active role concerning NFTA bus shelter problem for citizens of Lackawanna. There is something this council and the mayor should be doing, such as A, sending a letter to the NFTA director asking the city of Lackawanna have a voice on the NFTA board, which we have no one right now on that board. B, making sure the city of Lackawanna is informed in a timely manner of any changes in services which will affect our citizens. We should not find out after the decision is already made, which is always what happened. This council must remind NFTA that Lackawanna is a city, not a town, and should receive the same respect as Buffalo. Mr. Ingram.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I went to the NFTA this morning. I didn't get to speak to who I need to speak to, but I talked to Mr. James Ruelas. I texted him. I was asking about our shelters. If you live in the city of Lackawanna right now, and I'm trying to go, coming from Buffalo to Lackawanna, we have two shelters. We have one on electric, which they just put back, just coming this way, and the next one is not till you get to almost Market Square. That is unacceptable.
John, you gotta speak up.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That is unacceptable.
Market Square.
Yeah. Coming from Market Square is a couple, but we only have like 2 or 3, and I think you guys looked up where the shelters were at.
Yeah, we've looked up at least down Ridge Road, and there are 2 from Ridge and Electric, and then there's one in front of the Pine Ridge. But I have a list of all the bus stops that there aren't.
What is totally ridiculous is if you put a shelter in front of by your house. Let's say you say shelter go by your house. The NFTA want you to go clean it when they got snow and stuff. Under the guise, they say that they don't clean shelters, which is not true, because I got pictures, and I think our second ward councilman saw them cleaning shelters. Lackawanna has no voice when it comes to these buses coming in. Had it not been for myself and the other group of citizens, we wouldn't have the 42 buses. They were eliminating the buses when they eliminated the 36. How we got it, because we had a protest, we marched them. I walked them from Trenchard site to South Park. They thought we just walked across the bridge. But we were able to get the buses. We need to have a voice on these buses because we are a city. Our older folks and younger folks need to be able to travel. And for us not to have a voice is wrong. So I've already contacted Kennedy and I've contacted Ms. Mingo. We're going to send her another letter. So we want to have a voice at the table, whether it's myself or somebody. Lackawanna is a city, and we should be represented. So when decisions are being made about the NFTA, we are the least one to know unless we find out by accident. Hopefully we'll get some. What I was told that we may get 1 shelter by Waddell. That's not acceptable. We need at least 2 or 3 shelters. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have a little more information. And we'll be able to tell the resident, tell the council what we need done, what can be done. I've already asked Kennedy to look into this and see if he can help us. You know, he was great help with us getting the buses, the 42 and stuff running. So and all I'm saying that we need to make sure that that happens for the city of Lackawanna. I'm asking the council and the mayor, I'll be asking the mayor to write a letter saying that we request that please, we have to have somebody on that board. So you come back and tell people what's going on. There's a lot of things Buffalo get we don't get. Maybe they're a little bigger, but we still a city we need to be. And transportation is very important.
And before you go on, John, we thank you for your past efforts in getting the bus traffic to where it was adequate to service our residents, and for your continued efforts, and Faith Gordon's on that topic. And perhaps when it comes time to vote, the city council might consider maybe referring this to Director Jednick to contact NFTA to open a dialogue where we can discuss those issues with them, and also refer this to Mayor Iafallo to ask her to take further steps and direction on behalf of the city.
Council President?
Yes,
If I may,
sure.
maybe we can have conversations after the meeting if you're open to that, because I know our, discourse isn't very pleasurable at the time. But if you would like, I'd like to sit with you and discuss this topic, especially because you have had a rapport with the NFTA. You've been in direct contact with them for many years. I remember signing petitions for you over 8 years ago. So if there's any contacts that you have made, relationships that you have made, I think that would speed the process up instead of us starting all over from scratch. With all due respect, you were on the city council prior to myself, and if there was ever any activity or action that was done during your course, I'm interested to know.
Anything that's gonna help the citizens of Lackawanna, I'm up for it. Again, we may not agree on a lot of things, but my goal is for the citizens of Lackawanna. You know what I'm saying? And anytime I don't really look past what personal, whatever, professional, our job is to protect the city of Lackawanna. That's all I care about.
So there'll be a continued dialogue both
With everybody.
between our council member, the first ward, and you, Mr. and we will include this in our motion for further action once it becomes appropriate for that time. Your second item, so I'd like the city council to not only give an update on the gas station on Ridge Road and First Ward, which started almost 4 years ago. I would like this council to make sure this does not continue to happen in our city, where businesses come and say that what they will be doing and nothing is done, but they continue to buy property like this property owner did. I would call on any department head who has an update regarding the status of the gas station. I do have some information. Our building inspector, Scott Hayes, did visit the site yesterday and today, and there's activity. The owner is blacktopping the area, so there is work that is continuing, even if it's at a snail's pace at this time.
I've spoken to some folks and I got some information. I'm very pleased to just watching them do the work. My only concern is that no other business be able to come and do that. Come to our city and say they're gonna do something that takes that long. I understand some problems occur with some, but some of it is that we've been burnt a lot of time by other businesses. Just to make sure, and I understand that our zoning and zoning department stuff are working to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm really glad to see that it's getting done.
Well, as you probably witnessed, when we had our communications from citizens and the collision shop on South Park came up, it's the feeling, I believe, the city council to address those very issues and to make sure that all business owners are good neighbors too. So we support you in that, in your endeavor in that respect. Moving on to item number 3, the citizens would like to know when the traffic light will be put up at Lackawanna. It should not take this long since you have already received the money. We have received the money. I will direct this to Tony DeSantis for an update, which he has made most of the council aware, but Tony, do you want to take this?
Yeah, that's, we're like, again, it's in design phase right now. We have 3 traffic signals out throughout the city that just don't have material for it. I mean, it's not that we have the money. Of course we have the money. We have the money for all 3 projects, all 4 projects. We just don't have the equipment. We don't have the poles. We don't have any of that. That's out of our control. That's a nationwide thing. There's a shortage, a supply shortage that we can't control.
Tony, I understand, and I'm not jumping on you about it, but it was just funny yesterday. I was in Buffalo and I saw a good friend of mine, and I remember on 8th Avenue when his brother got killed by a truck, you know, and I just thought about Lackawanna, if something happened to a little kid or something. It just, and I remember that because when you're talking about a situation like that happening, I was a young man at the time. That we have some, they talk about speeders on their street, whatever, but we have so many people just reckless. And we don't want to see nobody get hurt, young, old, and in between. And I'm glad that the tickets are being, tickets off or whatever. And it's everybody's job. It's not just your job. It's our job to help you. If we see somebody, we have to tell. I understand, Tony. People just want that life. People just want, and I know that as soon as you get it, you're gonna put it up. There's no reflection on you. We just want to make sure our city is safe for all.
And one more point, John, I know our city attorney, Mr. Drew, has been working on the legalities of putting a light there because our engineering, if I remember correctly, our engineering advisory consultation firm was not in favor of doing it without proper procedures or without a proper study. But I know Mr. Drew has been working on doing it, dotting the i's and crossing the t's without having to go through those hoops. So efforts are being made, and we thank Mr. Judah for that too.
Well, I thank all you guys for what you do. We appreciate it. I know sometimes it's telling us what we don't want to hear is hard, but we appreciate it.
If I may just add to the action item number 2, back to the gas station, I did speak with the owner after our last meeting because we did have a table topic at that time. And the same reason why there's not a light up at Lackawanna is the same reason why the project has continued to drag. It's all about supply and demand chain. It's almost impossible to hire a full staff of concrete layers as well as the actual devices that the contractors are all paid for. They've been paid for in the beginning when they broke ground. However, the contractors are not able to deliver on staffing and supplies. So that's why you see the postponement of the project. They're not being given any favorable pass to having the work done. And they are active in its project, and it will be done when it gets done based on the same thing that's holding up the city with the lights is the same thing that the owner of the gas station is facing. So. And
I agree with that, and I understand that. We all know, I understand business, but at the same time, we have been burned several times. So I'm just saying for the future to make sure. I think the council's already on that. You guys already do that, and to make sure that the other times we can. So I think
we're trying to run a tighter ship. And thank you, Mr. Ingram.
Council President.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say one thing. I don't know if anybody realizes it, before any of us was members on the council, there were numerous traffic lights on Ridge Road. Previous administrations removed them all. I don't know, do you remember that?
I was there.
Yeah, and here we are again rectifying the mistakes that were made in the past. That's the way I feel about it. I think we're doing our best to rectify it.
I agree with you. I think this council has done more than past administration. I've been home 16 years. I haven't missed a council meeting in 16 years.
Thank you, John. Moreno moves to receive and file, refer to Director Development Jednick and Mayor Iafallo for the purposes of opening a dialogue as pertains to item number 1 of Mr. Ingram's letter, the NFTA bus shelter.
Second.
The motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file, refer to the Director of Development and request Mayor Iafallo to reach out to NFTA officials regarding the NFT bus shelters. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. You want to take number 23 as well?
Oh, thank you. We have a written request placed on the agenda from David Wozniak, who is president condition of the playground property at Lackawanna Senior Center, also condition of play equipment and maintenance of said equipment. Mr. Wozniak, you've got the floor.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if anybody here has any children or grandchildren, the occasion to use any of the playgrounds in the area over here, but we've been watching my grandson. We've been using the playground next to the senior center quite a bit. And the conditions over there are terrible, to say the least. So I went over there and I took some pictures. If you don't mind, I don't want you to think I'm attacking you or anything. If you could just look at that, and then there's some for up on the top over there.
I would definitely like to see
Take a
those.
look at that first one. It's when the playground was put in. It says Governor Pataki was in office when that went in, and Mayor Polanski was there. I don't know if any improvements have been done since that was put in, or if this is the same equipment that's there. But right now, there's pictures of broken equipment in there, missing equipment, and the chips that are in there probably should have been replaced ages ago over there. we take our grandson over to Notre Dame Academy over there, and they raise money in the church over there to put down the plastic rubberized chips and stuff in there rather than this wood that's in there over there. And then today, I went over before I came because I wanted to count how many dead trees were throughout the park over there. They were just a nuisance and they were a safety hazard, just waiting to happen for people. And after the night of the community night out stuff, we walked down the path. How many broken benches do we have back there? How many, the litter and stuff that's around there? But then you've got a basketball court. I think that's what it was intended for back over there. It's just like a flat area over there. There's nothing there, you know? So when the kids were at the end of the school year, they were coming over and using the playground. They were trying to, if they had to want to play basketball, they had to cross the street, go over to school, and they have portable hoops over there for the kids. I don't even have a basketball court over here. What else did I want to say? Other than the broken trees, and when I went there today, before I came, I took pictures. They're on my phone. Some of the missing equipment that the stuff's on the back of it over there, it's all gone now. It's not my intention to dismantle the playground for the kids, because the kids in our city really don't have much to play on around here. It's not my intention to have it dismantled. It's to repair it and to maintain it. Did anybody look at the pictures over there?
We all did.
Okay.
I did, go ahead. I'm happy to go
I
first.
would direct your comments either to Director Laxo or Director of the Public Works, DeSantis.
This was brought to my attention this morning. Normally we have, I'll just kind of explain the process. The beginning of each playground season, I have no staff, so I rely heavily on Mr. DeSantis' staff. In conjunction with DPW Foreman Kowalik, we go through putting up swings at each playground, which ones need to be replaced, wear mats, which ones need to be replaced. We put in a big order for those. Any equipment that might be defective, we, at the beginning of each year, look over that. We do the same thing at the end of each year. During the year, we rely a lot on the maintenance workers supplied by the Department of Public Works to say, hey, we were in the playground doing whatever work they were doing, be it weed whacking or whatever it might be. This piece of equipment is shoddy or broken or vandalized, which vandalized is happening at an alarming rate. We have our rec leaders. They've done a good job this year of bringing to my attention damaged equipment at Cleveland, at Bethlehem Park, Martin Road. I didn't get any notification until today. That's the first I was notified of those. I saw those were taken down by DPW workers with the intention I could show you the quote that I've got for, it was existing for Cleveland and Bethlehem Park, as well as to replace, not just remove, replace what was pointed out in these photographs on Martin Road. One of the bigger issues that we've got is that anytime we need playground equipment, our provider is Game Time Playground Equipment. MRC Rec is affiliated with them. They have a local representative, and it's more regional than local. It's New York State, it's Pennsylvania. She's all over the place. If I call her, send her an email, it's usually during a good time, a week to 2 week turnaround. This time it's been 2 months. So I finally was able to get through to corporate about a week and a half ago, and they set me up with another rep in order to replace, or in order to just discuss a quote for replacement parts for Cleveland, for Bethlehem Park. And today I was able to get for Martin Road as well. So just so you know, these things are addressed as they come to our attention. I don't know how long you've, when you notice the damaged equipment, but I was just told about it today. Like I said, normally I would have expected to hear about it earlier through some of the workers that are working on the playground daily. Sometimes things just slip by. It's not our intention for that to happen, but it does happen.
Another thing over in the park over there, the amount of dead trees that are in there. But then somebody made an attempt, I don't know if it was last year, year before, they planted some saplings and they put the plastic tubes and stuff in there down along the line over there. Not one of those is alive. You know,
so those are saplings that are provided through the county. It was me. I ordered 100 of them. I put them all throughout the whole city. Those aren't alive because kids are pulling them out. There was a whole row was probably 50 trees planted over there, and the kids just did the damage, which is most of the problem over there. So back where you were talking about back in the trail, the city spent $110,000 2 years ago to redo that whole trail, put drainage in to take care of that whole property. And it's concrete slab, that was a shuffleboard at one time.
Okay.
Back when that park was first developed, 15 years ago, probably even more. And the dead trees, you're right, those dead trees need to come down. They will be down before the season is over. And like I said, a lot of that garbage, a lot of damage is kids doing the damage back there. And we just put new cameras up all around the senior center and back in the pavilion. These cameras now are able to record, so we can see if there is some kind of damage or vandalism back there. We'll be able to go back and see if we can catch whoever did it and try to do something about it.
Now, in those pictures, I have the back of my road, what I was trying to intend on, the footholds and the handholds on those walls over there, are you gonna be able to repair them?
We do have a quote for them. I'm going to discuss with the mayor. I know she wanted to allocate some funding to buying some new playground equipment. We're going to have to balance between what we want to spend on new and what we want to spend on repairs of existing equipment. Our eyes kind of bopped out of our head when we saw the pricing on some of this stuff, but this is a discussion we're going to have with the mayor. This is a quote that I got 5 hours ago. So,
Now, is there any, in your plans, a possibility of replacing those chips with something over there? I mean,
the price, I don't recall. If I had known that you were going to bring that up, I would have tried to, and again, the turnaround on this conversation in a good time is a week to 2 weeks. The last time that we had that discussion, when Councilperson Peretti had inquired about the cost of building a new playground at another location, the cost for the wood fiber chips is the only reasonable option. The rubber mulch is, I want to say it's like 2 to 3 times more expensive. They have, like, if you've been down by Gallagher Park, they've got that beautiful, it's like a rubber foam. It's fantastic. And there's a reason it looks fantastic. That stuff is just a prohibitive cost. Like, the cost of that is more than the cost of the playground equipment itself. So the most reasonable option is that wood fiber by a substantial margin.
now, is that something that the chips can be made, or do you have to buy them and they're treated and they're whatever? I don't know.
We buy the
special chips that are made especially for playgrounds.
Yeah.
Only for use for that purpose only. And just to add one more other thing, when you say missing equipment, the only reason it's missing is because it's damaged and broke. So we're not going to leave damaged equipment up for kids to get hurt. That chain, that black chain,
right?
Okay, those were all, if you look, those were rubber coated. Once the rubber breaks on it, the chain gets rusted and they break. So we pulled all that down.
But you never even know what's going on underneath there. That's
You
the problem with
don't.
that.
You don't. And as Mr. Laxell saw, now they don't even make those anymore. Now they're made out of stainless steel.
Yeah, the replacement will be stainless steel. That's no longer industry standard. That rubber coating is no longer what they're using.
And Mr. Wojciak, I'd like you to kind of wrap this up right now.
Okay, well, I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to go any deeper as long as I know that.
You're welcome to have conversations during
That's
the
fine.
day with the.
Like I said, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and I was surprised when I went today, and because I have pictures of what was there, and now it's gone.
Well, thanks for taking the pictures and bringing this to our attention.
Mr. Wozniak, my number's on the website. You can call me anytime. Leave a message. I'll get back to you immediately. You don't have to wait for a meeting. I'll be happy to have a dialogue with you anytime you'd like.
Morano moves to receive the file.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson, to receive and file. McFly. Anderson. Moretti.
Yes.
Sirlik.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Business registrations. Dak B. Skalski, doing business as Skalski Motors, which takes care of New York State inspections, repair, collision, and sales, 3228 South Park Avenue.
Morano moves to table that item.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirlik, to table requesting pending additional information. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirlik?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. The next one, Joshua Tim, doing business as 88 South Barbershop, Personal Care Services, 1474 Everett Road.
Morano moves to approve business license.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve business license. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
No.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-1. Carlos Nasford Brown doing business as Buffalo Key Holders LLC, which is an indoor skate park, 2600 Hamburg Turnpike.
Brian moves to approve business license.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Muflahi to approve business license. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Mr. Council President?
Regarding any tabled items or old business, I do believe, fourth ward council member, Councilman Sirdike, wants to address the council and department heads.
Yes, I've got written communication from a resident of Fourth Ward, and I've got numerous phone calls of ATV activity. And I had a meeting today with Director Wolf, Mayor. We're in the process of coming up with some ideas. Maybe we'll have to meet with the law department. Gonna work on this. Probably talk about it at the next meeting, so I gave you all a copy of the letter. I don't know if we entered this in the rest of the.
I didn't get that.
Oh, I know, I'm asking. Just to, mailed last week. That's it. You don't have anything more to add, not right now.
Not this time, no.
Okay, good.
All right, thank you, Councilman Sirdike. Anyone else have anything regarding tabled items or old business? If not, Morano moves to adjourn.
Moretti second. Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adjourn the meeting. Muflahi?
Yes.
Anderson? Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano? Yes. Carried 5-0. Thank you, everybody.